Good morning. I'm Brittney Willis. I'm a current 2L at Wake Forest University School of Law, so I also don't have the honor of going to an HBCU. At Wake, I serve as the Vice President of the Black Law Students Association, and I'm also on our Expungement Clinic e-board. The advice that I want to share with you all today echoes what the previous speakers have all said, and that's trust your process, basically. Trust your process and fall in love with it at the same time. Whether that be falling in love with your mistakes or your triumphs or the terrible contracts essays or the B- that haunts you in your sleep. Fall in love with it all because it will happen to each and every one of you. Unless you're just really smart, and I don't know. But fall in love with it no matter what. Because it's when your journey gets hard that I think you really know who you are and you find out what you love and what you dislike at the same time, and that's okay. That's a good thing. Today I'm grateful enough to introduce another one of our keynote speakers, Miss Demetra Liggins. She's a partner at Thompson Knight Bankruptcy and Restructuring Practice Group in the firm's Houston office, and she's also a co-founder of Corporate Homie. She is a trusted business partner who works with her clients to identify and achieve their goals in their bankruptcy process. She received a JD Cum Laude from the Cumberland School of Law at Samford University and a BS in Business Administration. Her 15 years of experience and ambition are both things that we can all admire and desire to become. So please help me welcome her to the podium.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. I would greet you like I do on my podcast, and that is, what up, homies? I want to say thank you to Evangeline Mitchell for having me and Chancellor Martin. I've never been to A&T, but I have an identical twin sister named Demetra. When you're born in the 70s, your name has to end in a vowel. When you're a twin and you're born in the 70s, your name has to rhyme. So we are Demetra, and Demetra went to Wake Forest, so it's really nice to have Brittney introduce me, and my brother-in-law went to A&T, so he's always screaming. I was waiting on somebody to say Aggie Pride nationwide, because he says that all the time, so I'm super excited, like Red Bull excited to be here to speak to you today. My dad's a pastor. He would say something like, for the time that is ours to share together. Yes. I'd like to talk to you about the topic of staying open. And some of people have talked about some of the things that I'm going to talk about. But first, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I gotta brush my shoulders off and talk about myself first. Otherwise, my points won't make any sense. So I am a partner at a big law firm. So all those places that everybody talks about that nobody black goes to, I work at that terrible place. I went to law school right out of undergrad. I went to undergrad on a volleyball scholarship, went straight into law school, left law school, went to a judicial clerkship, went into the big firm, have been at a big firm my entire career, made partner, which is pretty unheard of, and made equity partner, which is even more unheard of. So y'all gonna get all this black girl magic this morning, whether you want it or not. Like with an afro, you know what I'm saying? Like with an afro. Which I didn't actually get my fro until I became a partner, which is its own story. But I just share all that to say that I am the first, at least as urban legend comes, because as you might imagine, white people don't keep up with statistics about how black people make partners. So as urban legend is told, I am the first black female partner to be promoted to partner in the firm. We're about to celebrate 130-year history in October. So then you're like, maybe she do know what she's talking about, right? Okay, the podcast is called Corporate Homie. Everybody knows homie is Homie, right? You can't be a homie if you spell it with a Y, right? Okay, so the podcast was started by my twin sister and I. We started it, my sister has her MBA from Wake. I'm a lawyer. We've been in corporate America for, about 20 years, we just look young, we not young, but we've been at this game for a minute, and what we found is that there's a corporate struggle. And so we started a podcast to give people lessons about the things that we learned. We found that there were lots of things that we were talking about with each other that we were struggling with that were the same struggles, even though we worked in different industries. So I do encourage you to listen to the podcast. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Stitcher, Google Play, as well as our website. So I'm just going to do points, because like I said, I'm just a preacher's kid, so I'm just going to do points. So my first point, like I said, the topic is you got to stay open. And I know people keep talking about that, but that's the gig. You're not going to make it in law school. You certainly won't make it as a lawyer if you don't stay open. So my first point is be open to the process. So this is what I mean by that. You can be stubborn about your goals, but you got to be flexible about your methods. So my mom and dad tell this story. Every kid has something they want to be when they grow up, right? Like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they said they asked me what I wanted to be, probably around the age of like 5. And I said I wanted to be a lawyer. And then you came back and they kept asking me what I wanted to be, and I never changed my mind. And they said it was a really weird thing for a kid. Like kids, wanted to be firemen, and then they wanted to be models, and then they wanted to be truck drivers. And I just never changed my mind. I always wanted to be a lawyer, and that never changed all the way through college. And so I was very adamant about that. And so when I got to undergrad, I knew I wanted to be a lawyer. And so I signed up for this Kaplan course, because that's what people who want to be lawyers do. And on the first day of the course, you take a LSAT. You take a LSAT cold. And some people in the room have taken an LSAT. The LSAT is no punk. Like, if you haven't taken an LSAT, like, it's not a game. Like, it's for real, right? Like, it's in real life. So you take this LSAT, and I've always been a very good student, not necessarily a very good standardized tester. Grew up in the military. When you change schools a lot, you miss a little bit here and there, right? Like they might read Moby Dick in 6th grade in Arizona, and then they might read that in 8th grade. So you just miss a little bit when you change schools a lot, which I think imparts and impacts the way you take standardized tests. So I get the LSAT score back, you go like, I think the class was like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we took the test on Monday, and I wasn't feeling terrible about it until I got the score. And then I was like, So I went to the bathroom, gave myself a good little cry. I came out, I looked in the mirror, and I said, so if we don't want to be a lawyer, what is it that we might want to be? And so I came up with a backup plan, even though I was going to continue with handbag buyer, because I like purses. So I thought, well, if we don't get to be a lawyer, we'll buy Louis Vuittons. That's what we'll do for a living. But I kept on with the class, increased my score, and then, got ready to apply to law school. So I was, like I said, went to school on a volleyball scholarship. My parents came to town. I went to school in Memphis, Tennessee. We were sitting at, we're very rich people, so we were sitting at a fine dining restaurant, you may have heard of it, called Applebee's on Union for my senior night dinner. And my dad was like, so, what are you doing, to my sister, like, what are you doing after undergrad? Because my dad was very clear that he was going to pay for undergrad and nothing else. And he hadn't paid for my undergrad because, I paid for undergrad in a way, right? And so I said, I'm going to law school. Like, we've been talking about this forever. And he said, that is so great. How are you going to pay for that? And I was like, me? I got to pay for law school. Oh, so that changed the way I thought about all these places that I had been applying. And so, I was having some success with acceptances. So that wasn't my issue. I was not having as much success with money. I was not having as much success. And I was getting scholarships, but, law school, you might have heard, it's expensive. It was expensive when I went. And so the advice that the Fresh Market man, I can't remember his name, but I do love Fresh Market, gave about law school being an investment is true. You need to keep that in mind. And so I started keeping that in mind, which led me to the Cumberland School of Law, where I got a full scholarship. So I ended up going into this like no-name law school that I hadn't heard of, that I didn't know about law school rankings. I didn't even know that mattered, but the Lord takes care of babies and fools, which takes me to my next point, which is be open your mind and have a teachable spirit. So I didn't know anything about rankings. Like I said, my dad was a minister in the Air Force, so I didn't know anything about law firm rankings. I had never been to a pre-law summit. I wasn't as fortunate as to have things like this. Didn't know anything about that. So I was at church. You should go to church too when you're in law school. You should go to church too when you're in law school. You're gonna need that when you're in law school. Let me be for real. You need that. So I was at church. The pastor's wife, who was a judicial clerk, came up to me during exchange of peace, and she was like, "How's it going?" I said, "It's going fine." And she said, "Well, how are your grades?" And I said, my grades are fine. We just got them. We just got the grades. It was like a Christmas, Christmas break. We had just gotten the grades. And she said, "Well, what's your rank?" And I said, I don't know. I think I'm number 11. And she said, "You number 11?" And she said, "You're in the 11%?" And I said, "No, I don't think so. I think they said I was number 11. I'm not for sure though, but I think that's what they said. It was number 11. She said, "How many people are in the class?" I said, "I don't know." She said, "How many people in law school?" I said, "Like 600. She said, "You number 11? She said, baby, you need to call me." So she writes her number down on the bulletin, and she wants to go to lunch. And I don't know this lady, right? This is what I mean. Like, this is how the Lord takes care of you. So I said, okay, because I don't have no reason not to go for a free lunch. I'm broke. I'm in law school. So I said, okay. So she comes to lunch at Sur & West in Birmingham, Alabama. It's still one of my favorite Thai restaurants, both because of the story and the food. She sits me down. She brings a man with her named Abdul Kalan, who at the time was an associate at a law firm called Bradley Arant, which is the largest law firm in Alabama. He was a young associate there. They sit me down at this lunch, and they start explaining to me what big firms were, like what a big firm is. They tell me what a big firm is and how important these big firms are, and that you should go to work at one of those since you're number 11 in the class. And I say, okay. And they tell me I should not go work at a place that's not a big firm, given that I have these good grades. And they seem like they know what they're talking about, so I say, okay. I said, well, I'm in the middle of on-campus interviews, and I already have some job offers. And Abdul says, well, you should start turning those down because you're going to go work at one of these 6 firms. Like, these are one of the 6 firms. He writes them on a napkin. And I said, well, none of those come on until like the last week of January. And I have to give answers to some of these people before those people. And he says, Demetra, if they don't come on, I'll pay your rent. And I had taken 1 semester of contracts. I had taken some contracts. Okay, so I said, well, if you would initial here and here, because see, let me be clear, Benny and Carolyn Liggins, that's my mom and daddy, they can't pay my rent, right? Like, so if those people don't come, but he was right. And I went to work at one of those very nice big firms, and that introduced me to big firm life. Today, Abdul Kalan is a federal judge, and he changed the whole entire trajectory of my legal career from that lunch, because I didn't know. I literally didn't know. There are moments and that's why I come on a Saturday morning and spent a billable day yesterday getting here to come and share with you, because I know there are people who are like me, who is information about this process that we don't know, that other people know, and these moments can change your life. So that's why I say be open. Don't think you know everything. Be willing to sit down, listen to somebody give you a word. That was a 90-minute lunch that changed the entire path of my entire legal career. So I definitely would say that as well. And even at the law firm, once I got to the law firm, some of my biggest mentors didn't look like me, and I wasn't ready for that. I thought my mentor, I don't know why I thought that, because there really wasn't any black women, but I thought I was going to be mentored by some black woman, and if not a black woman, then a black man. But the people who have probably had the most impact on my actual substantive career, because I am at a big law firm, have been white men. And so I use that also to say, just be open to however your path is going to unfold. It may be at a different school than you envisioned, or have a different advisor than you wanted, or a different mentor, or you're in a different organization or a different state. Stay open your mind. My next point, and this is something I still have to remind myself of to this day, stay open about your why. Don't ever forget why you started. This game will eat you up. People will put their values on you. They will put their why on you. They want to be a lawyer because they want to make a lot of money. They want to be a lawyer because their mother wanted them to be a lawyer. They want to be a lawyer because they wanted to teach. But you wanted to be a lawyer because you wanted to work in your dad's, family law, or you knew a lady who was abused and nobody was able to help her, and that was the catalyst that led you to law. And so, or maybe you wanted to work for the SCLC, or you wanted to go work for the Southern Poverty Law Center, or maybe you did want to, you're kind of a techie person and you wanted to be a part of a startup. But stay true to your own why. Don't let people pull you into their why. And we have a way of doing that. We're lawyers, we're persuasive. We have a way of saying, like, girl, let me tell you what I'm doing. Like, see, the reason why I'm doing it this way is because of X, Y, and Z. And you'll start listening and you'll start thinking, that sounds real good. That might sound better than my why. And so it's okay if you change your mind, but don't change your mind because you're just on someone else's path and you've actually forgotten your why. Because when the moments get tough, and the moments get tough, I mean, these students are so right. Like, I'm an old lady. Like I said, I just look young. I can still remember the first question of one of my property exam questions because I ain't know the answer. Like, I can still remember that. And that's not about being smart. And I always studied and was always prepared and was always thinking about, reading my cases. I will say this too in your process. It also helps with your why because you're gonna need to be focused. You're gonna need to be disciplined. You're gonna need to miss some things. When you're in law school, you have to shut some stuff down. And that is something especially that I do not envy for your generation because of social media. Like, I didn't really know what I was missing, because I was like locked down in the library. But now y'all know, you like, they sure having fun. Right? But I will say, in the grand scheme of your life, locking it down to study for the LSAT because you want to go to a certain law school or you're trying to get a scholarship, in the grand scheme of your life, that's not that much time. Locking it down for 2 or 3 years to study well, because do not get it twisted. I don't care what anybody at this podium stand here and says, your grades matter. Your grades matter, and you can be as charismatic and funny and have all the relationships. When you get in the room, people ask for transcripts. Your relationships can get you in the room, and then people want to know about your transcripts. And so your grades are going to matter. And so if you can just focus, it's like being online. If you can just get through a couple of really hard weeks and then come out on the other side, right? And then you get to come out, you get to be in the best sorority in the land. It's fun, right? It's great. Everybody loves that day, right? But that takes focus, right? That takes discipline. And so I say this because it's kind of counterintuitive. You think discipline means restriction, that discipline. Discipline is freedom. Think about it. When you're disciplined about what you eat, you can wear what you want. When you're disciplined about your money, you can buy what you want. When you're disciplined about your lesson, as my big mama would say, you can work where you want to work. Somebody could work for you, right? If you have to be disciplined, and all of that comes from your why. That's not going to come from someone else's why. That's going to come from your why you decided to go to law school, why you decided to do things. Here's the next point, and I wish someone had told me this when I was your age, because I wasn't good at it. Open to setting some boundaries. I didn't know about that, especially sometimes as Black people, we have this idea of that we're going to like take on the burdens of the world, that it's part of our responsibility to like carry all this heavy laden burden. No, you got to do some things for you sometimes, and sometimes that means you don't have to say no, because you working on some things, right? You focus, you on a path, you're trying to go to law school, or you're in law school, so you have to say no. And I mean that as a complete sentence. So I'm gonna drop this little word of knowledge. You can have this one for free. No, period. Don't start explaining. The explanation is what makes people try to get you to the yes. Okay, so here's how it goes. People say, hey, can you come and help us throw Princess a baby shower in Durham next weekend? And you know you need to study, and you say no, because I've got an exam and I need to study, and I said I was gonna go to the library, and then they say, well, what time are you going to the library? See, they trying to help you get to a yes. Right now they trying to work your schedule out for you. What you should just say is something real nice like this. Oh, girl, you know I love Princess. No, I'm not gonna be able to do that though, unfortunately. And stop talking. See, that explanation is where you're gonna go wrong. No is a complete sentence. We talk about this a lot in episode 38. Like, you've got to do that. Boundaries, exercise. You have to have a place to work out stress. Law school is very, very stressful. Law school is very, very stressful. I don't care if you a G, right? You like, I'm a G. I grew up in the hood. I got all kind of stress. Law school's still stressful. You're gonna need a place to get that stress off. Just, like 30 minutes a day. Therapy is not something you should be afraid of. Most of us have something that we could use a little couch time to get on somebody's couch, work some stuff out. It could change your life. You don't have to tell people you're going if you gotta think about it, but seriously, don't be afraid of that. Especially while you're young enough and you're still on your parents' insurance. Last thing about this boundaries. Y'all young people all about these squad goals, right? I see this all over social media. # squad goals. You are most like the 5 people you spend the most time with. So look at your squad. What is your squad about? Because there's nothing wrong, right? Like, with having a large squad, but like, who is like your real crew? Are they about the business? Because you're gonna need people that's about the You're gonna need people that's about the business to make it in law school, right? So if like all your friends are like, girl, the alpha's coming back out. Girl, you 23. You know when the alpha's coming out at all the schools? You at Central, you at what? Girl, home girl. No, that's not gonna be your highest and best use of your time. Tell her to send you the video, right? Live vicariously. Because again, you're working on something. You're working on something. You're working on something. And hopefully, you can come back to that at maybe at 25 if you want to go back on the yard and go to the yard show. But think about that. Think about the people that you're surrounding yourself with. How do they spend their time? What are they doing? Because that's going to be important. My crew in law school, we studied. We studied, and people laughed at us, but we had jobs. Like, when we graduated, we had jobs. And I'm gonna tell you this, it's hard to get a job these days. When I was coming out, it was a buyer's market. It's not. I work at a law firm. I'll give you statistics or like anecdotal evidence. When I was a law student At my firm, our summer associate class was like 20, 25 students. This past summer, we had 4. It's different. It's a dirty game. It's totally different. And so to me, to do all this work, to come to this summit, to go to law school, to do all of that, and then not to buckle down in law school, and then not to end up with a job is very unfortunate and a disservice to yourself. Don't play yourself, right? Always honor yourself. Keep your promises to yourself if you don't keep them to anybody else, right? Honor the things that you told yourself that you would do for yourself. So the last thing I would say, this is my last point, and as they say, I'm gonna take my seat. Stay open to your path. Run your own race. Again, as much as I love social media, and I know you do too, if you ever seen someone run a race, they don't look to the left, they don't look to the right, they have to stay focused so they can cross. I actually just saw a video, and I was sitting in a meeting and I laughed out loud, which is why you shouldn't be on your phone in a meeting, because there was these 2 ladies, and they were actually 2 white ladies, and they were running some kind of race, and they were just really, and they grabbed each other's hand as they were finishing, they put their hands up, and this black girl came through the back, shoot, and won. Did you see that video? It was the funniest thing. So they was looking up, they were like, "Whoa, we're gonna be first and second," and she came up from the back and won. And to me, it was such an example of like, you gotta run your own race, and you gotta finish the whole race, right? You have to finish the whole entire race. And I do feel like you guys, the looking to the left and the right is you looking on the gram, you looking on the book, right? Y'all, the scroll syndrome is what I call it. You're so busy worried about what other people are doing. And I'm not one of those people who thinks that people are lying on Instagram and social media. I don't think that. I think it's a curated version of their life. It's curation, right? So it's your best life, right? So today, I'm gonna post today, you know, trust. I'm cute, right? Like, no, my name is Demetra Liggins. My name is not, I don't have like Cutie Pie 59. I'm just Demetra. You wanna follow me, you can follow me. My pages are open, please do. Follow Corporate Homie as well. But people post their best life. So I'm gonna do it at my age, because I can't really do your age because I'm too old. So at my age, people's best versions go like this. Woke up this morning, got up, got a workout in, got the kids dressed, had a little family devotional, right? Got on my conference call. Husband sent me flowers for no reason. Boo time, hashtag boo time, right? Hashtag heart healthy, right? Came home, made my family a meal. Everybody's in bed by 10, pouring a glass of wine. Today was a good day. Hashtag ice cube, because we old, right? But tomorrow, you might wake up late. Your daughter might want to wear cowboy boots and a denim scarf, right? And she might want to wear a corduroy dress, and it's 95 degrees. We live in Houston, right? It doesn't work like that. You're not going to post that, right? You and your husband got in an argument because he like, why you let her wear whatever she want to wear? And you like, well, then you get a dress, right? So you don't post that day. That's why you posted yesterday, because that don't happen every day, because it was a good day, because I'm excited about the day. That's why I shared it with you, right? And if I did share my bad days, if I did share with y'all that I ran hills last Saturday, because I'm not the volleyball athlete that I used to be, and I could barely walk. Like, I could barely walk. Y'all would be like, why is she sharing so much, right? Then you're like, why she tell all her business on social media? Like, you got that one friend that, like, she argues with her husband, and you like, girl, call your line sister. She telling all their business on social media, like, or like, what's wrong with old boy? Like, I don't think him and old girl are good. Did you see his post? Like, we don't want that. We want your best self. We want to feel happy with you. So don't compare your everyday life with someone's curated moments. They are curated moments. So the girl that is posting that she just got into law school, she might have gotten 7 rejections. Right? So that might be the only one she got into. Or the girl that got into 6 places, she didn't get any money, and you got into 2, and one of them you got money. So again, stay away from the scroll syndrome. Stay away from the scroll syndrome and do you. So I'm gonna end with actually Mr. Dunham's words, which are, You belong in law school. Law school is for you. Don't let anybody tell you differently. I don't care when, one of the things I think that always made me, and it's weird to call yourself successful because I'm not sure that I see myself that way, but certainly something that made me persevere is that because no one looked like me, I didn't have the ability to compare, right? There was nobody, and I was thinking about this even this week. The law firm is rolling out some new benefits plan for partners, and I'm always reminded that I'm a party of one. I was like, there's nobody to call to be like, yo, dog, you gonna do this? You gonna put your money in this retirement plan? How much you gonna put in? Do you know what I mean? You kind of isolate it by yourself, but it does teach you to think for yourself, to make good decisions for yourself. Another thing is that it kept me from thinking too far in advance. And so I didn't go that far in advance. For me, I wasn't the person who went to the firm and was like, I'm gonna be the first Black female partner. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try to build 2,000 hours this year and be on track. That's how I did every year. And so it surprised me when I was like, oh, I'm kind of close. I guess I should go ahead and try to make partner. One bite at a time, right? One day at a time, sweet Jesus, right? One day at a time. Y'all don't get too far ahead. Just know that you belong here. Get today's task done. And I think that you will find that then 5-10 years from now, you'll be up here telling funny jokes, making people laugh too. Thank you.